Do-Won Kim's hands shook as he brushed away centuries of dust from the alien writing on the wall. The beam from his light moved across strange symbols that seemed to glow faintly in the darkness of the ruins. After 15 years of searching through dead worlds, he had finally found something extraordinary. "Captain Park," he called out, his voice echoing through the ancient chamber. "You need to see this." The sound of boots on stone grew louder as Captain He-Jin Park made her way through the ruins. Her uniform was covered in the same red dust that seemed to coat everything on this planet. She moved carefully, checking her tablet's structural scanner with each step. "What did you find, Dr. Kim?" she asked, coming to stand beside him. The light from her helmet illuminated more of the wall, revealing line after line of text in different alien writing systems. "It's a warning," Do-Won said, running his scanner over the symbols. The same warning, written in at least 12 different languages. Some of them match writings from civilizations that died out thousands of years ago. He paused, double-checking his translation software. "They're all saying the same thing." He-Jin leaned closer, her eyes narrowing. "What do they say?" "The warriors of Earth must remain in their eternal sleep." The chamber grew quiet except for the soft hum of their equipment. Do-Won watched as He-Jin's expression changed from curiosity to concern. They had both studied the mysteries of dead alien civilizations, but nothing had prepared them for this. "Earth," He-Jin said finally. "These ruins are 40 light-years from Earth. Some of these languages are from species that went extinct before humans learned to write. How could they know about Earth? About us?" Do-Won shook his head. "I don't know. But look at this." He moved his light to show more writing that curved around the chamber walls. Every civilization that wrote here, they all knew something about Earth. Something that scared them. Their conversation was interrupted by a crackling sound from their communicators. "Captain Park, Dr. Kim," a voice called out. "We found something in the lower chamber. You should come see this right away." They made their way down crumbling stone steps, their lights casting jumping shadows on the walls. The rest of their research team stood in a half-circle, staring at something on the ground. As Do-Won got closer, he saw what had caught their attention. It was a hologram, still working after all these centuries. The image showed a battle scene, but unlike anything in human history. Soldiers moved with impossible speed and strength, their movements too quick to follow. They fought against creatures that looked like walking mountains, yet the soldiers were winning. The timestamp on this recording, one of the researchers said, it's from over 10,000 years ago. But look at the soldiers' uniforms. Do-Won stepped closer, his heart beating faster. The uniforms were unmistakable. They were Earth military uniforms, but from no time period he recognized. "There's more," another researcher said, pointing to a series of detailed drawings on the walls. These showed the same soldiers, but in some kind of sleeping pods, thousands of them. He-Jin touched her communicator. "Bridge, this is the captain. Send a priority message to Earth Command. Classification level Omega. We found something they need to see." The message took 4 hours to reach Earth. The response came back in less than 30 minutes. "Captain Park, you are ordered to secure the site and await the arrival of Council Member Jae-ho Lee. No one is to leave the planet. No data is to be transmitted. Maintain complete communications blackout until the Council Member arrives." Do-Won looked at He-Jin. "The Galactic Council. Why would they send someone for this?" "I don't know," she replied. "But I've never seen Earth Command respond so quickly to anything." She turned to the team. "Everyone back to the ship. We'll set up a proper base camp tomorrow. No one comes back to these ruins alone." That night, Do-Won couldn't sleep. He sat in the ship's observation dome, staring at the stars. The ruins below held answers to questions he hadn't even known to ask. Why did ancient aliens know about Earth? Who are those soldiers in the hologram? And why did every dead civilization leave the same morning? 3 days later, Council Member Lee's ship arrived. It was a sleek diplomatic vessel that made their research ship look like an ancient cargo hauler. Jiho Lee himself was tall and thin, wearing the simple gray robes of the Galactic Council. His expression was hard to read as Do-Won and Ha-Jin showed him their findings. "You understand," Lee said, studying the hologram, "that this information is now classified at the highest level. Your entire team will need to sign extended confidentiality agreements." "With all respect, Council member," Ha-Jin said, "we're scientists, not military. These ruins could help us understand humanity's true history. The public has a right to know." Lee turned to face them, his expression grave. "Captain Park, what you found here isn't just history. It's a warning. One that dozens of civilizations thought important enough to preserve even as they were dying out." He paused, looking at the hologram again. "There are things about Earth's past that were hidden for good reasons." "Hidden by whom?" Do-Won asked. "That's classified," Lee replied. "But I can tell you this, those soldiers you see in the hologram, they're real, and they're still sleeping." The revelation hit Do-Won like a physical blow. "On Earth? Right now?" Lee nodded. "In bunkers deep underground. Thousands of them. The most dangerous warriors ever created, kept in suspended animation for thousands of years." He touched the hologram controls, freezing the image on a single soldier's face. They were Earth's ultimate defense system, so effective that just the threat of waking them kept peace for millennia. "But that's impossible," Ha-Jin said. "We would know if something like that existed on Earth." "Would we?" Lee asked. "Think about what you found here. Advanced civilizations, far older than humanity, all leaving the same morning. All afraid of warriors who could sleep for thousands of years, waiting to be awakened." He turned off the hologram. "The modern age of space travel has been peaceful. Humanity's colonies have grown without serious threats. We've never needed to wake them. Until now," Do-Won said, realization dawning. "The attacks on the outer colonies, the ships that appear and disappear without warning. That's why you're really here, isn't it?" Lee's silence was answer enough. A loud alarm suddenly blared through the ruins. "Captain Park," a voice called over the communicator. "Multiple ships just appeared in orbit. They're not responding to hails, and their weapons are charged." Ha-Jin was already moving. "Everyone back to the ship. Emergency evacuation procedures." "It's too late," Lee said quietly, looking at his own device. "They're already landing troops. They're here for the ruins." He looked at Do-Won and Ha-Jin. "They're here to destroy the warning." The ground shook as something heavy landed nearby. Do-Won could hear weapons fire in the distance. "Who are they?" he asked. "Descendants of those who tried to conquer Earth long ago," Lee replied. "They've been searching for these ruins, trying to destroy all evidence of Earth's sleeping warriors. Because if humanity ever discovers the truth and wakes those warriors." He left the sentence unfinished. The weapons fire was getting closer. Through the entrance to the ruins, Do-Won could see strange ships descending from the sky, their hulls glowing with an eerie red light. "Dr. Kim," Lee said urgently, "the data you've collected here needs to reach Earth. The Council has a hidden quantum transmitter in my ship. Take my access card. Send everything." "What about you?" Ha-Jin asked, already moving to protect Do-Won's retreat. "I'll slow them down," Lee said, pulling out a weapon Do-Won had never seen before. "The warriors of Earth must remain sleeping, but only until they're truly needed. I think that time has come." Do-Won ran through the ruins, clutching the precious data storage devices and Lee's access card. Behind him, he could hear the start of a battle. He didn't look back. The truth about Earth's sleeping warriors had to reach home, no matter the cost. The warning had been meant to prevent war. But now, Do-Won realized it might be the very thing that started one. And somewhere on Earth, in deep underground bunkers, thousands of ancient warriors continued their endless sleep, waiting for the call that would finally wake them. To be continued. Na-Young Choi walked through the underground bunker, her footsteps echoing off metal walls that hadn't felt a human touch in thousands of years. The air smelled old, but it was clean. The ancient filtration systems were still working perfectly. Her team had discovered this facility 3 kilometers beneath the Korean peninsula, and what they found inside changed everything. She thought she knew about Earth's history. The power systems are still at full capacity, her assistant said, checking readings on a tablet. It's like someone built this yesterday, not thousands of years ago. Na-young nodded, running her hand along the smooth wall. She was a military historian, used to studying ancient battlefields and worn-out weapons. But this place was different. This place was alive. How many sleeping chambers have we found? She asked. Over 2,000 in this section alone, her assistant replied. And the scans show at least 5 more sections we haven't reached yet. They stopped at a large window looking into one of the sleeping chambers. Inside, rows of pods stretched into the darkness. Each pod held a warrior in perfect suspended animation, their faces peaceful as if they were just taking a short nap. Na-young's tablet beeped, a priority message from Earth Command. Her hands shook as she read it. The message contained data from a research team 40 light-years away, showing ancient alien warnings about Earth's warriors. The same warriors she was looking at right now. They're real, she whispered. All the old stories about super soldiers from Earth's golden age. They weren't myths. Her tablet beeped again. This time, it was a video call from Earth Command's emergency center. The face on the screen belonged to General Minho Kang, and he looked worried. Dr. Choi, he said without greeting, we've lost contact with 3 more colonies. The attack pattern is spreading. How soon can those warriors be awakened? Na-young looked through the window at the sleeping pods. Sir, we don't even know if they can be awakened. The technology here is beyond anything we've seen. Figure it out, the general ordered. We just lost contact with the research team that found those alien warnings. Something is trying to wipe out all evidence of these warriors, and they're killing anyone who gets close to the truth. The call ended, leaving Na-young staring at her reflection in the window. Behind her, the pods hummed quietly, keeping their ancient occupants in perfect stasis. Dr. Choi, one of her team members, ran up, out of breath. We found something. In the central chamber. You need to see this. The central chamber was larger than all the others, with a circular platform in the middle. As Na-young approached, symbols on the floor began to glow with a soft blue light. A hologram appeared, showing a man in an ancient military uniform. Greetings, the hologram said in perfect modern Korean. I am Commander Ta-hyun Kang, leader of Earth's Special Defense Force. If you are seeing this message, then you have found our sleeping chambers, and Earth must be facing a threat that requires our awakening. Na-young stepped closer. The hologram was incredibly detailed, and the AI controlling it seemed to track her movement. Your language and appearance suggest you are from what we designated as Timeline 7, the hologram continued. Much time has passed. You have questions. Who are you? Na-young asked. Why are you here? We are Earth's ultimate defense system, created during the golden age of human civilization, when our technology reached heights your time has yet to rediscover. We fought against threats you cannot imagine, protecting Earth from forces that would have destroyed all human life. The hologram changed, showing scenes of incredible battles, warriors moving faster than seemed possible, fighting creatures and machines that defied description. But our powers came with a price. The hologram of Commander Kang continued. We were too powerful. Our very existence threatened the balance of peace. So we chose to sleep, to be awakened only in Earth's darkest hour. That hour might be now, Na-young said. She described the attacks on the colonies, the destroyed research team, the ancient warnings they had found. The hologram was quiet for a moment, processing. The activation sequence is simple, it finally said. But understand, once we are awakened, we cannot return to sleep. The warriors will live in your time, with all their powers and all their knowledge. This decision cannot be undone. Na-young's tablet beeped again. More colonies had gone silent. Whatever was attacking them was getting closer to Earth. "How do I wake them?" she asked. The hologram raised its hand, and a control panel rose from the floor. "Place your hand here. Speak the words. Earth calls its warriors to rise." Na Young stepped forward, but before she could reach the panel, a new voice spoke from the chamber entrance. "Stop." She turned to see Council Member Jai-Ho Lee stumbling into the chamber. He was wounded, his gray robes stained with blood. "You don't understand what you're doing," Lee gasped. "These warriors, they're too powerful. If they wake up in this age, with modern technology, we're under attack," Na Young said. "Colonies are being destroyed. What choice do we have?" "There's always a choice," Lee said. "The aliens attacking us. They're afraid of what these warriors could do. Maybe they're right to be afraid." More emergency alerts flashed on Na Young's tablet. The attacks were getting worse. Entire colonies going dark. Millions of lives at stake. She looked at the sleeping pods visible through the chamber windows, at the peaceful faces of warriors who had chosen to sleep for thousands of years, waiting for the moment they would be needed again. "Maybe they are right to be afraid," she said. "But that's exactly why we need these warriors now." She placed her hand on the control panel. It felt warm under her palm, like it had been waiting all these centuries for this moment. Earth calls its warriors to rise. The chamber filled with a deep humming sound. Blue light pulsed through lines in the floor, spreading out to all the sleeping chambers. One by one, the pods began to open. "What have you done?" Lee whispered. In the nearest chamber, a pod opened with a soft hiss. A woman sat up slowly, her movements careful but perfectly controlled. Her eyes opened, taking in the room and everyone in it with a soldier's practiced awareness. More pods were opening, more warriors waking up. Some looked confused, others immediately alert and ready for action. They all moved with the same fluid grace, like predators waking from a nap. The hologram of Commander Kang smiled. "The warriors of Earth have awakened. May our enemies remember why they feared us." In the doorway, Council Member Lee slid down to sit on the floor, his wounds finally overtaking him. "You don't understand," he said weakly. "They're not just attacking colonies now. They're gathering a fleet. The biggest fleet ever seen. They're coming to Earth." "Good," said a voice behind them. Na Young turned to see Commander Kang himself. The real one, not the hologram, standing up from his pod. He looked exactly like his hologram, his uniform still perfect after thousands of years of sleep. "Let them come. Earth's warriors are awake, and we have much lost time to make up for." Through the windows, Na Young could see more warriors rising, checking their equipment, moving with purpose. These weren't just soldiers. They were legends come to life, myths made real. And they were ready for war. The ancient warning had been clear: never wake Earth's warriors. But facing extinction, humanity had no choice. Now the galaxy would remember why that warning existed in the first place. To be continued. Commander Ta-Hyun Kang stood in Earth Command's main control room, watching as dozens of red dots appeared on the large display screen. Each dot represented an enemy ship entering the solar system. The room was quiet except for the soft beeping of computers and the nervous breathing of the modern military officers around him. "Their fleet will reach Earth in 6 hours," General Minho said, his voice tense. He looked at Ta-Hyun with a mixture of awe and uncertainty. The ancient warrior commander still wore his original uniform, which seemed to shimmer slightly in the room's light. "6 hours is more than enough time," Ta-Hyun said calmly. He turned to look at the other awakened warriors in the room. They all stood perfectly still, their movements efficient and controlled even after thousands of years of sleep. "How many of our ships survived in the hidden bases?" 17 ships have been recovered," one of his warriors reported. "All systems are operational." The modern officers looked surprised. Do-Won Kim, who had survived the attack on the ruins and made it back to Earth, spoke up from his position near the main console. "Your ships still work after all this time?" Ta-Hyun smiled slightly. Our technology was built to last. Now show me the enemy fleet's formation again. The display zoomed in, showing hundreds of alien ships arranged in a complex pattern. General Minho pointed to their formation. Our analysts can't make sense of their strategy. The pattern seems random. It's not random, Tahyun said. It's the same formation they used 10,000 years ago. They haven't learned. He turned to his warriors. Take your positions. Remember your training. As the warriors left the room, Nayoung Choi entered. She had been studying data recovered from the sleeping chambers. Her face was pale. Commander Kang, she said, I found something in the old files about what you and your warriors really are. Tahyun nodded slowly. You found the genetic modification records. You're not just trained soldiers, Nayoung said. Your DNA was changed, enhanced. The files say you can move faster than normal humans, heal from almost any wound, process information at impossible speeds. She paused. You're not human anymore, are you? We are human, Tahyun corrected her gently. Just improved. It was necessary. The enemies we faced were too powerful for normal humans to fight. Do-Won stepped forward. The aliens who are coming. They're the same ones you fought before, aren't they? The ones in the hologram we found in the ruins. They're descendants, Tahyun confirmed. They call themselves the Dominion now. 10,000 years ago, they tried to conquer Earth. We stopped them. The battle was so devastating that other alien civilizations left warnings across the galaxy, telling everyone to never wake us again. The room was silent as everyone processed this information. Finally, General Minho spoke. Can you stop them again? Yes, Tahyun said simply. But first, you need to understand what you've awakened. He pressed some buttons on the console, bringing up an old recording. The screen showed a training session from 10,000 years ago. Warriors moved so fast, they were almost invisible, lifting weights that should have been impossible, healing from injuries in minutes instead of days. Their eyes glowed slightly when they used their full powers. We were created to be the perfect defenders, Tahyun explained. Each of us has the strength of 20 normal humans. We can process information 1,000 times faster than a normal brain. Our bones are nearly unbreakable. Our blood can fight off any disease or poison. Why did you choose to sleep? Nayoung asked. With powers like that, you could have ruled the world. That's exactly why we chose to sleep, Tahyun said quietly. We were too powerful. Other humans began to fear us. Some wanted to use us as weapons to control others. So we made a choice, to sleep until Earth truly needed us again. Alarms suddenly blared through the command center. The enemy fleet had accelerated. They would reach Earth in 3 hours, not 6. It doesn't matter, Tahyun said, watching the display. 3 hours, 6 hours, the outcome will be the same. He touched his communicator. All warriors, prepare for launch. Remember your oaths. The next 2 hours were a blur of activity. The 17 ancient ships rose from their hidden bases, their technology far beyond anything modern humans had built. Each ship was crewed by the enhanced warriors, their movements perfectly coordinated after countless battles fought together. Do-Won watched from the command center as the warrior ships took up defensive positions around Earth. The ships were beautiful, their hulls gleaming with a strange metal that seemed to absorb light. Their fleet is entering firing range, General Minho announced. The enemy ships filled the display screen now, their weapons charging. Tahyun's voice came over the speakers. All warriors, remember your training. Remember why we chose to sleep. Remember our oath, to protect Earth, no matter the cost. He paused. Begin the attack. What happened next left everyone in the command center speechless. The warrior ships moved in ways that seemed to ignore physics. They appeared and disappeared, striking enemy ships with weapons that cut through their strongest shields like paper. The warriors themselves could be seen on tactical displays, their enhanced bodies allowing them to fight even in the vacuum of space. Impossible, Du-1 whispered, watching as his single warrior ship destroyed 10 enemy vessels in less than a minute. "Now you understand," Ne-Young said quietly. "Now you understand why every dead civilization left the same morning. Why they were so afraid of waking Earth's warriors." The battle continued, but it wasn't really a battle anymore. It was a demonstration of power that the galaxy had not seen in 10,000 years. The Dominion fleet, for all its size and weapons, couldn't match the speed and power of the enhanced warriors. In the middle of the fight, Ta-Hien's voice came over the comm again. "They're retreating, just like last time." His voice held a note of sadness. "They never learn." The command center erupted in cheers as the enemy fleet fled, leaving behind the wreckage of hundreds of their ships. Earth was safe, but Ne-Young noticed that Ta-Hien and his warriors weren't celebrating. "What's wrong?" she asked when the commander returned to the control room. "You won." "We won the battle," Ta-Hien agreed. "But now we face a bigger challenge." He looked around at the modern humans watching him. "We're awake now, in your time. We can't go back to sleep. So what do we do with our power in this new age? That's the real test, not fighting enemies, but living in peace with those we protect." The ancient warning had been about more than just the warriors' fighting abilities. It had been about the responsibility of having such power and the wisdom to know how to use it. 1 month after the battle for Earth, Du-1 Kim stood at the window of the new Warriors Council building, watching enhanced warriors train with modern soldiers in the field below. The warriors moved with their usual incredible speed and grace, but they were careful, gentle even, as they taught modern fighting techniques to regular humans. "It's strange," Ne-Young said, standing beside him. "A month ago, these warriors were just legends in ancient ruins. Now they're teaching our soldiers and helping build new defense systems." "They're different than I expected," Du-1 replied. "When we first found those warnings, I thought they would be more dangerous, violent." Commander Ta-Hien's voice came from behind them. Despite his enhanced abilities, he still chose to walk and talk like a normal human most of the time. "Many people expected us to be monsters." Do-1 turned to face the warrior commander. Ta-Hien wore a modern uniform now, though his old one was displayed in a museum along with other artifacts from the warrior's time. The commander looked tired, which surprised Do-1. He didn't know enhanced warriors could feel tired. "The Galactic Council is meeting today," Ta-Hien said. "They're deciding what to do about us." He smiled slightly. 10,000 years ago, they were afraid we would try to conquer the galaxy. Now, they're afraid we'll do it by accident. "Will you speak to them?" Ne-Young asked. "No," Ta-Hien said. "Council member Li will speak for us. He understands both sides now." Li had survived his wounds from the bunker incident, and after seeing the warriors choose peace over power, he had become their strongest supporter. The three of them walked to the building's main meeting room, where a large screen showed the Galactic Council chamber. Hundreds of alien species were represented there, many of them descendants of the civilizations that had left those ancient warnings. "The Earth Warriors have proven themselves," Li was saying to the Council. "They could have dominated us all. Instead, they chose to teach, to protect, to help build rather than destroy." "They are too powerful," one council member argued. "No species should have such advantages." "We are not afraid of their power," another council member countered. "We are afraid because they show us what we could have been. They chose sleep over conquest. They chose peace over power. How many of us can say we would do the same?" Do-1 watched as more council members spoke. Some were afraid, others curious. But all of them had to admit one thing. The warriors had not misused their power since awakening. "Look," Ne-Young said suddenly, pointing to the screen. A new ship had appeared near the council station. It was a Dominion vessel, but not a warship. It was a diplomatic ship. The room went quiet as a Dominion representative entered the council chamber. The aliens who had tried to destroy Earth's colonies, who had fought against the warriors, were now asking to speak. "We were wrong," the Dominion representative said. "For 10,000 years, We pass down stories about Earth's warriors, teaching our children to fear them. But we never pass down the most important lesson: why they chose to sleep. The representative turned to face the camera that was broadcasting to Earth. We attacked because we were afraid. We thought that if the warriors woke up, they would seek revenge for our ancient wars. Instead, they showed mercy. They defeated our fleet but let the survivors return home. They proved that power doesn't have to corrupt. Tai-hyun watched the screen with an unreadable expression. Do-won wondered what it felt like to hear your ancient enemies admit they were wrong. The warriors could have destroyed us. The Dominion representative continued. Instead, they sent us a message offering peace talks. They offered to share medical knowledge that could help our people. They offered friendship instead of revenge. The council chamber erupted in discussion. The Dominion, one of the most aggressive species in the galaxy, was asking for peace, all because Earth's warriors had shown them a better way. The ancient warning was wrong, Lee said, his voice cutting through the noise. It should not have been never wake Earth's warriors. It should have been learn from Earth's warriors. They show us that great power can exist alongside great wisdom. Later that day, Do-won found Tai-hyun standing in the warriors' memorial garden. Names of warriors who had died in ancient battles were carved in stone walls, along with their oath: power to protect, never to rule. What happens now? Do-won asked. Now we do what we were truly made for, Tai-hyun replied. Not just fighting battles, but preventing them. Teaching others that strength doesn't have to lead to violence. Showing the galaxy that humanity's greatest power isn't in our enhanced bodies or advanced ships. What is our greatest power? Ne-young asked, joining them in the garden. The power to choose, Tai-hyun said. The power to sleep rather than dominate. The power to show mercy to enemies. The power to use strength to protect peace rather than destroy it. He touched one of the names on the memorial wall. That's why we were created. Not to be weapons, but to be examples. Above them, the sun was setting on a changed Earth. The warriors were awake, but they had not brought the destruction that ancient civilizations had feared. Instead, they had brought something unexpected: hope. Hope that power could exist without corruption, that ancient enemies could become friends, that the strongest warriors could also be the strongest advocates for peace. The ancient warning still stood in those ruins 40 light-years from Earth, but its meaning had changed. Now it served not as a warning, but as a reminder. A reminder that Earth's warriors had mastered not just the art of war, but the greater art of peace. And in the warriors' memorial garden, as the last light faded, 3 figures, a warrior, a historian, and an archaeologist, stood together, watching a new age dawn for humanity and the galaxy.